made 22 question paper. Okay, group 1 paper 2 corporate and other laws. We'll just analyze the question paper so that we'll have a brief idea of what is the important things to be observed from the latest question paper. Okay, I'll discuss one by one. First question is compulsory question. Every question 7 marks is for other laws, remaining marks is for corporate law. The total question is 19 marks, 7 marks is other laws and 12 marks is corporate law. If total question is 17 marks, 7 marks other laws, 10 marks corporate law. So there are 5 questions are there. Total there are 5 questions. So in each question 7 marks is for other laws and the balance marks is for corporate law. The first question is compulsory question. It consists of 19 marks. Question number 1, 19 marks. Okay, out of that 19 marks, 12 marks is for corporate law and 7 marks is for other laws. Okay, right. Look at the first question. It's straight away question taken from the board material at the chapter end. Okay, in the board material, at the end of every chapter, they will give some test your knowledge questions, which we have included in our material also. So this is the question straight away taken from the board material, and simply they have changed the numbers. Okay, so this kind of questions already we have given in our material also. Okay, it is there in our material 100% same question. Okay, only they have changed the names. This question is relating to what? Whether a public company can be converted into a private company or not. If so, whether it is necessary to reduce the number of members. So the question is relating to conversion of private company to public company. Conversion of public company to private company. Whether they need to reduce the number of members. Same question. Only they have changed the names and the numbers. That's it. The company name they have changed and the numbers they have changed. Okay, the same question. Okay, you have to see whether counting. You know this counting, right? While counting this 200 who are to be included and who are to be excluded. Therefore, 6 marks straight easy question. And this is the question given in our material. Okay, practical question, classroom discussion in the chapter 2. This is chapter 2, classes of companies. Right away you got this question, and moreover if you observe this question, so normally some people will do is that they will revise only these 3 things: RTPs, MTPs and previous exam questions. If you observe, this question is not there in any of these 3 sources. RTPs, MTPs, previous exam, no. But still we have given in our guest questions and is there in our revision exams also. Okay, because this is past, but our exams is based on the present study material. What is the present ICAI study material? Since this problem is there in the latest edition of the ICAI study material, though it has not been tested in the previous sources, still we have given in our revision exams and also in the guest questions. Okay, so this descriptive paper is around 92 marks. This descriptive paper, out of the 78 marks is from our guest question. Out of 92 marks question paper, 78 marks is from the guest questions. Okay, right. That is the point. So therefore this is the straight away question. Okay, it is given in our revision exams, guest questions and also in the material. It is also there in our material. I have already shown you the same question. They have changed the numbers. Okay. Next, second question is bit tricky, unusual thing they have given. Okay. The second question is relating to corporate social responsibility. CSR means corporate social responsibility. So this corporate social responsibility in the books, normally when we discuss the syllabus, we'll discuss only net profit. Okay, 2% of the net profit they have to spend on the CSR. But in the academics, we are silent whether it is before tax or after tax. They have given 2 things: net profit before tax and net profit after tax. But if you apply logical, if you use your common sense, profit and loss account last item is net profit after tax only. Okay, when I say net profit as per the profit and loss account, it means the last line item. Net profit as per the profit and loss account means last item, not before extraordinary items. It is after tax and after extraordinary items. After extraordinary items and after tax. Okay, that is what the thing. So some students may get confused if they don't apply their common sense or logic. Net profit in the academics we have discussed net profit, but which net profit we have to take, whether it is before tax and whether it is after tax. In the examination, to solve this kind of problems you should not be panicked. Though it appears to be something new, but if you make your mind cool and think about 1 or 2 minutes, definitely you'll get. So in the profit and loss account, last line item is net profit. Okay, net profit after tax. And moreover, in the income tax PGBP chapter, profits and gains of business or profession, PGBP chapter, the CSR expenditure is not allowed as a tax deductible item. Okay, Therefore we have to take it here net profit after tax. Logically last line item of the P&L is a net profit after tax. Therefore that is what you have to apply, otherwise you will get the wrong answer. Okay, this is the only new thing in the exam which is not there in the existing board material. And also, okay, so first time they have tested these two topics, net profit before tax and net profit after tax. Still we have given in our revision exams and cash questions. This corporate social responsibility concept we have given in our revision exams and also the guest questions. And ICAI question they will simply say net profit. In the ICAI theory question they simply said net profit, but in the exam we have to apply whether it is net profit before tax or after tax. 5 to 10 marks will be there in the question paper which requires practical knowledge. You cannot blame the institute, sir, how you are giving practical knowledge, because we don't have any practical experience. You don't have any practical experience, but the faculty teaching will be having the experience. That much institute knows. Okay, even the students may not be having practical experience, but the people who are teaching may be having practical experience. Therefore, minimum 5 to 10 marks they will touch, which you cannot write without having practical experience. Only purely based on the ICAI present study material, you cannot solve that unless until you have the practical experience. So this question comes under that category. 5 to 10 marks they will give that practical flavor, okay, to the question paper. So this also 3 marks only, no need to worry, it's only 3 marks question. Okay. Next question is relating to redeemable preferences. It's also a straight question, you can easily identify. Okay, when the company is unable to redeem the preferences, they can exchange new preferences with the old preferences, which we popularly call it as a deemed redemption of preferences. Exchange of new preferences for the old preferences. But for that the condition is what? For exchange of preferences, the condition is that you have to take the consent of 75% of the shareholders. We have to take the consent of 75% of the shareholders. But here in the question they have given 70% in value. Therefore, obviously, whether the tribunal will approve this transaction, the answer is no. Straight question. If you remember this 70%, there is no difficulty for answering. Okay, to exchange the new preferences for old preferences, we have to take the consent of 75%. Then only tribunal will give the approval. Okay, so here since we have not obtained 75% consent, we may not get the tribunal approval. They are asking, will the petition be approved by the tribunal? The answer is no. The answer is no. Tribunal will not approve the petition because it requires 75% consent. Next, so can the company include the dividend also in the issue of deemed redemption? The answer is yes. Okay, so look at the starting line. If a company is not in a position to redeem any preferences or to pay dividend, the company is not in a position to redeem any preferences or to pay any dividend. That means you can give the new preferences not only for the principal amount of the old preferences, but also the dividend on the old preferences. You can give new preferences not only for the principal amount of the old preferences, but also for the dividend amount. That's what they are asking. Whether new preferences can be issued for unpaid dividend also, the answer is yes. Okay, straight question, no confusions. Okay, 3 marks question. So with this corporate law, 12 marks is completed in this question. First question 6 marks plus 3 marks and 3 marks. 12 marks corporate law, and remaining 7 marks are relating to the other laws. My total 19 marks. So this question is relating to ratification. So one of the important point in the ratification is that knowledge of the principal is defective. Okay, agent has entered into a contract without the consent of the principal. Then the concept of ratification comes into existence. Before ratifying, principal should know fully about the contract entered by the agent. Without knowing about the what contract entered by the agent, principal cannot blindly give the ratification. Okay, before giving the ratification, principal should know exactly about what contract is entered by the agent. So without sufficient knowledge, if the principal ratifies the contract, that ratification is invalid. Without sufficient knowledge, if the principal ratifies the contract, that ratification will be invalid. So we have given an example in our material. Okay, the question is relating to this aspect. Knowledge requisite for valid ratification. No valid ratification can be made by a person whose knowledge of the facts of the case is materially defective. Okay, if the knowledge of the principal is materially defective, then ratification will be invalid. For this we have given one concept question. The same question they have given only by changing the names of the parties. Look at this. A has an authority to purchase. Okay, A has an authority to A has an authority from P to buy certain goods at market rate but bought at a higher rate, but P accepts the purchase. Afterwards, P comes to know that the goods purchased by A for P belong to A himself. Is ratification done by P valid? No, the answer is ratification is not valid, because when the A has given goods to P, P don't know that the goods belongs to A personal goods only. P is thinking that the goods has been bought by the agent from the market. Okay, P is thinking that agent purchased the goods in the market. In fact, those goods are agent's personal goods. Without knowing that goods are agent's personal goods, it is not the goods bought by the agent from the market. Principal gave ratification. That ratification is invalid. Look at the same question, they have changed the names. Ramu has given authority to Prem to buy certain goods at the market rate. Prem buys the goods at a higher rate than the market rate. However, Ramu accepted the purchase in spite of higher rate. Afterwards, Ramu comes to know that the goods purchased belong to Prem himself. Do you observe? Same question, only they have changed the names. Whether Ramu is bound by the ratification, the answer is no. Okay, so we have already given in the guest question our material. Okay, right. The same question, only the change in the names of the parties. This is 3 marks question. And next question is also relating to contract of agency. A total 4 marks from this chapter, contract of agency. Hari authorizes Bharat, a merchant in Mumbai, to recover dues from Banki and Co. Bharat instructs Deepak, a solicitor, to take legal proceedings for recovery of the money. Explain the legal position of the Deepak. Now this solicitor, he is a substituted agent. He is not a sub-agent. He is a substituted agent. He is not a sub-agent. The same question we have given in our material. They have changed the names of the parties. Okay. Substituted agent. Look at the same question. This footnote. A authorizes B, a merchant in Kolkata, to recover the monies due to A from C and Co. B instructs D, a solicitor, to take legal proceedings against C and Co. for the recovery of the money. D is not a sub-agent, but he is a substituted agent. Same question, they have changed the names, that's it. No concept change, nothing. Okay, so this also easy to score, straight question. And this 3 marks question relating to Negotiable Instruments Act, completely they have given true or false. Okay, this also we have covered in our material completely. Okay, but this is bit difficult to solve, because you have to read line by line. Every line you have to read the material, then only you'll be able to solve this kind of questions. Out of 3 questions, this we can easily solve, but these 2 are question mark. Okay, look at this. When payment of an instrument is made in due course, both the instrument and the parties to it are discharged. So here we have to observe carefully. We should understand the importance of concentration while reading the subjects like law. You have to understand how important is it to concentrate. Right. So this is, there are 2 questions here, question number 37 and 38. Question number 38 is relating to discharge of the instrument. Like instrument gets discharged. Discharge of the complete instrument. Discharge of the complete instrument. Question number 39 is relating to discharge of parties. Instrument completely is not discharged. Only some parties are discharged, some parties are still liable. Some parties are discharged, some parties are still liable. But the difference between these two, if you observe, here payment in due course. By payment in due course. This question is given under discharge of instrument. In the discharge of parties, we have simply given payment. This is the difference we have to observe. When it is a normal payment, only parties are discharged. When it is a payment in due course, whole instrument is discharged. This difference if you observe, then you can write this question. When payment on an instrument is made in due course, okay, then both the instrument and the parties are discharged. When the instrument is paid, not automatically instrument is discharged. Only some parties are discharged. When the payment is made in due course, both the instrument and the parties are discharged. And if the instrument is discharged, means all parties are discharged automatically. Instrument is discharged means all parties are discharged. Therefore, whether all parties are discharged, only some parties are discharged, depends upon whether it is a normal payment or payment in due course. Whether all parties are discharged or only some parties are discharged depends upon whether it is a normal payment or payment in due course. Since they have given payment in due course, it discharges the whole instrument. Therefore, it is true. Okay, it is true. Next question is related to material alteration. Alteration of rate of interest is not a material alteration. No, alteration of rate of interest is a material alteration. So we have given some examples for material alteration. Our okay, we have given some examples. So within that example, look at this. Some more examples of material alteration. Examples of material alteration. We have seen alteration in rate of interest. Alteration in rate of interest. It is a material alteration. They are saying it is not a material alteration. Therefore, it is false. Okay, statement is false or invalid invalid. Next, conversion of blank endorsement into endorsement in full is not a material alteration and does not require authentication. So it is a material alteration, but it is authorized by the act itself. It is authorized by the act itself. Therefore, we need not take the consent of the prior parties. We need not take the consent of the prior parties. We look at this material. Following material alterations have been authorized by the act and do not require any consent from the prior parties. Since these alterations are permitted by the act itself, you need not take the consent of the other parties. These alterations are permitted in the act itself. Therefore, we need not take the consent of the prior parties. They are saying it does not require authentication. Yes. Okay, it does not require authentication. But what they are saying is that it is not a material alteration. This is false. It is a material alteration, but it does not require the authentication of previous parties, because we are saying following material alteration. These are material alterations only, but still these are permitted by the act. We need not take the consent of the parties. Okay. So this first one and third one is bit critical, because the third one students will get confused whether they have to write valid or invalid, because the statement is partly correct and partly incorrect. It does not require authentication. Yes, correct. It is not a material alteration, may not be correct. Okay. That is this true or false question. Therefore, students can write this question easily, but these 2 marks. If you observe, out of this 19 marks, where the students may face difficulty is this 3 marks question and this 2 marks. 5 marks will be a bit difficult and 14 marks you can easily score straight away. Simple question. Therefore, we should not bother about those 5 marks. This 14 marks, if you write perfectly, definitely minimum you will get 10 to 12 marks. Okay. There will be questions like this, but you need not bother about those questions. In the professional examinations, you need not attempt to enter 100% paper. Even if you attempt 80% paper also, still there are high chance of getting the exemption. Don't think that theory subjects they will not give full marks. No. Okay, we have valued the papers law and auditing many times. So CA Inter law and auditing, we have valued the papers many times. But CA Institute examination department, they have given the clear instructions. Don't hesitate to allot full marks if the question is right. If the answer is right and your presentation is correct, don't hesitate to give full marks. Therefore, it is a myth that in the theory subjects you will not get the full marks. If your question is correct, you will get 4 out of 4 or 6 out of 6. There is no doubt about that. Therefore, since only these 5 questions are difficult and the remaining 14 marks are simple, if you write the correct answer for this simple 14 questions, no doubt you will get 12 to 10 marks, minimum 12 to 10 marks. Okay, right. So entire all questions are there in our material also. So this is there in our material and also in the guest questions. Okay, right. So this also, whatever we have discussed, this is there in our material. I have shown you all the 3 points are there in the material, because we don't leave anything in the syllabus. We try to cover 100% of the syllabus in the material. Okay, this is the first question, and the second question is this is related to registration of charges. Okay, if the company is not willing to register the charge, then what is the remedy available to the charge holder? Charge holder himself can apply for registration. If the company is not willing to register the charge, then charge holder can himself apply for the registration. This is also covered in our material. That is also covered in our material. This question they are asking: recourse remedy available to the charge holder. Recourse available to the charge holder. Is there any provision empowering the charge holder? Means, is there any remedy available to the charge holder? So remedy or recourse, one and the same question. Okay, full 4 marks question. You can easily score 4 marks for this chapter. Straight theory question. Okay, right. Next, this question is relating to dividend adjustments. Very important question. Okay, dividend is something which has to be paid by the company to the shareholders, and call-in arrears is something which the shareholders has to pay to the company. Okay, dividend is something which company has to pay to the shareholders. Okay, company has to pay dividend to the shareholders, and shareholders has to pay call money to the company. So when the shareholder has not paid the call money, we can set off these two things. We can set off these two things. We can adjust these two things. That's what this question. ABC Limited has declared dividend at the rate 2 per equity share in a general meeting. Mr. Suresh is holding 5,000 equity shares of rupees 10 face value each, on which 10,000 towards call money is due. Whether the dividend amount payable to him, whether the dividend payable be adjusted against dues on the calls, the answer is yes. Dividend amount can be adjusted in the call. See how many revision exams we have covered. So this question we have repeated in the revision exams multiple times because it's an important question, and we also covered in the guest questions also. Okay, right, and it is there in our material also. 100% the same question is covered, only with the change in the names of the parties and the amount. Only with the change in the names of the parties and amount, that is covered. Next, this question is an amended question, which is related to periodical financial results. Normally, as of now, we are preparing the profit and loss account and balance sheet once in a year. We are preparing the profit and loss account and balance sheet once in a year. Unlisted companies will prepare P&L and balance sheet and will get their books of accounts audited once in a year. But listed company, they have to do every quarter. Listed companies, they have to do every quarter. That is the present position. Now the government has brought an amendment wherein unlisted companies also may be required to prepare periodical financial results. Till now only for listed companies quarterly results. Now the government is planning to implement a provision, okay, in which even unlisted company also has to prepare periodical financial results. Okay, this is a new amended question, section 129, which is given in our material also. Look at this, periodical financial results. Periodical financial results, the same question, straight question. Periodical financial results, unlisted companies. Unlisted companies, periodical financial results, small question. Okay. This is also we have keep on repeating in our revision exams because we know that is a latest provision. If you observe, there is a section number 129A. It is not there from the beginning of the act. When the Companies Act is framed after 129, they will put 130. They don't put 129A. If they are inserting 129A means it is inserted subsequently. It's not there from the beginning of the act. Okay. So therefore its question is important. So we have stressed that in the revision exams also multiple times we have given the same question. Okay. Right question, 4 marks, easy to score. Next, this is relating to contract of guarantee, true or false. 3 questions are relating to contract of guarantee and 1 question is relating to bailment and pledge. Okay, so creditor should proceed legal action first against the principal debtor and later against the surety. It is a false statement. Creditor can directly file a suit against the surety without first filing a suit against principal debtor. Creditor can directly file a suit against surety without filing a suit against principal debtor. Okay, look at this, we have given this. Okay, this question they have tested. Surety's liability continues even if the principal debtor has not been sued or is omitted from being sued. That means even if the surety has not filed, creditor has not filed a case against principal debtor, creditor can directly file a case against surety. Okay, so without first filing a suit against principal debtor, creditor can directly file a case against the surety. That is what that question. Right question. A guarantee which extends to a single debt is called continuing guarantee. It is a false statement because a guarantee given to a single debt is called specific guarantee. A guarantee given to a single transaction is called a specific guarantee. They have given it as a continuing guarantee. Therefore, it is a false. It is a false statement and it is true. Variation which is not material and beneficial to the surety will not discharge from his liability. This is also we have given in our material. Okay. Right question. Look at this. This is the latest case law introduced in the latest edition of board material. If the variation is not substantial and is beneficial to the surety will not be discharged. The same statement is not material and beneficial to the surety will not discharge the surety. Right question. Okay, therefore 100% of the question paper will be covered in our material, if not at least 95% will be straight away from the material. If you read the material thoroughly line by line, you will get the straight questions. Okay, will not discharge from his liability. Next, fourth question. If the bailee does not use the goods according to the terms and conditions of bailment, the contract of bailment becomes void. It is not void, it is voidable. The contract of bailment becomes voidable, not void. Look at this. Voidable contract. Bailer may terminate the contract of bailment. In other words, contract of bailment becomes voidable if the bailer does not use the goods as per the terms of bailment. This is a voidable contract, but they have given it as a void contract. Accordingly, it is false statement. Okay, so many questions. Okay, many questions, tried questions from the material. Some questions they have changed partially. Okay, this also easy question to score. And next question is relating to invalidation of the check. Okay, this is a kind of questions where we should not trap yourself. They will use some words which may be misleading. By looking at those words, we should not write the wrong answer. If you look at this question, Health Services Limited bids the tender floated by the Supercare Hospital, attaching a check dated so-and-so towards deposit. Since the tender process was extended, the tenderer returned the check expiring on 30th June to the bidder for its resubmission after having revalidated by changing the date of the check. Accordingly, the revalidated check was submitted by the bidder to the bank. The check presented by the tenderer to the banker, it was dishonored by the bank. This is a trapping word. By looking at this word, we should not write the provisions relating to dishonor of check. Even though they are saying dishonored by the bank, but what they are asking is, they are not asking the consequence of dishonor. What they are asking is it possible to alter the date of the check? Whether the check altered with a new date is valid or not. That's what they are asking. They are not asking about the consequence of dishonor of a check. By looking at this word, if you write the theory question relating to dishonor of the check outrightly, it will be struck off. You will not get any marks. These are the trapping words. By looking at these words, we should not get confused. Okay, they are asking whether the check is valid or not. Yes, it is valid. The date of the check can be altered. In spite of that, the check will be valid. So it is a case law given in the board material, and also we have covered in our material also. Okay, look at this. The same question, they have changed they have given some names of the parties. Okay, the drawer of the check himself altered the date of the check for validating or revalidating the same instrument. He cannot take advantage of it by saying that the check becomes void, and there was a material alteration there too. Okay, so the drawer of a check himself altered the date of the check. That means this is permitted. Permitted. Changing the date of the check by the drawer himself is permitted, as given in this case law. Changing the date of the check by the drawer himself is valid, as given in this case law. So actually this question is about the material alteration question. Whether it is treated as a material alteration and it affects the relationship of the parties, the answer is no. Okay, the answer is no. It is not a material alteration because it is permitted. Drawer can change the date of the check. This question is related to material alteration, whereas by looking at these words dishonored by bank, students may write the question relating to dishonor of checks. Okay, that is what you should be careful. Either you will get 3 out of 3 or 0 out of 3. If you remember this case law, if you remember that this question comes under the, if not the case law name, at least if you know that yes, this is covered under, this concept is covered under material alteration. If you know that, you will get 3 out of 3. Or otherwise, if you write the question answer relating to dishonor of check, your answer will be struck off. Okay, so there are some words like this, you should be careful. Okay, a bit difficult question, that one, trapping question. And this question also, tribunal alteration of share capital. This question also they have given some trapping word. Okay, as per the financial statement as at 31st March 21, the authorized and issued share capital of Manorama Travels Private Limited, the company is rupees 100 lakhs, divided into 10 lakhs equity shares of rupees 10 each. The subscribed and paid up share capital on that date is rupees 80 lakhs, divided into 8 lakhs equity shares of rupees 10 each, so and so. But if you look at this word, they have given company has reduced its capital. By looking at this word, students will think that it's a reduction of share capital covered under section 66. Because of this word, no, it is not reduction of share capital. Because what we are reducing is a unsubscribed capital. It covers under alteration of capital clause section 61. It covers under alteration of capital clause section 61. No tribunal approval, no special resolution. Ordinary resolution is sufficient. In case of reduction of share capital 66, you have to pass a special resolution and tribunal approval, NCLT approval. Here only ordinary resolution is sufficient. That's it. This question is relating to alteration of capital clause section 61. But just to trap you, they have used this word called as reduced the share capital. Company has reduced the share capital. If you write 61, you will get 5 out of 5. If you get trapped by looking at this word's reduction, you will get 0, completely 0. Wrong answer. Okay, 0 or 5. Therefore, this question is relating to alteration of capital clause, but not the reduction of share capital. So, section 66 is relating to subscribed capital. 66 is refers to reduction of subscribed capital, and unsubscribed capital reduction is 61. Unsubscribed capital reduction is 61. Subscribed capital reduction is 66. Okay, right. That is the important point. You should be careful. Here also they will use this kind of trapping words. So by predicting this kind of questions, we'll explain in a different format in the classroom. Right. So by predicting this kind of questions, you inquire with your seniors, those who are prepared in the 46th edition. We have already explained this in the classroom. Okay. The difference between 61 and 66. Here the number, if you observe here in these two cases, total capital is reduced. Here authorized capital is 1 crore. It is reduced to 80 lakhs in both the cases. In both the cases, it is reduced to 80 lakhs. But one thing is covered under 61 and another one is covered under 66. The difference is that here we have reduced the total number of shares. Unsubscribed shares, only 8 lakh shares subscribed. We kept 8 lakh shares and 2 lakhs unsubscribed. We have reduced it. But here what we have reduced is the face value per share. Here the number of shares are reduced, okay, by keeping the face value constant. Here number of shares are kept same, but the face value is reduced. Face value is reduced. It comes under section 66. Okay, we know that there is a conflict or contradictory between 61 and 66. So this we have explained in the 46th edition. Even present batch students also you can inquire. Okay, it's not that after examination we are explaining this concept. It is there in the students' notebooks earlier only. And moreover, you will get shocked. First time nobody in India, they will explain which question you can leave it as a choice. But before reading the question paper itself, ask your seniors 46th edition, I clearly told them leave the third question as a choice. In the examination, it's pretty much sure that the third question will be difficult. You can leave the third question as a choice. These are all in the third question. Okay, whatever this question trapped, this is the third question. I already clearly told that by predicting the past examination papers, I came to know that where the questions will be difficult at the middle of the question paper, not the first two questions, or the first question anyway is a compulsory question. So third question will be normally they have to leave it as a choice. Inquiry with the seniors, I already told you, don't confuse, don't waste time your examination. Be sure that you are going to leave the third question as a choice. Okay, exam lo make time save, they'll save the time because you know well in advance which question I want to leave it as a choice. Okay. So this is difficult. Already we have tried to explain what is the difference between this alteration of share capital and reduction of share capital. The same question they have tested. But moreover, see, even though it is an unexpected question, I keep on stressing in the revision exams. Even though it is unexpected question, we keep on stressing in the revision exams because we know that where the conflicts will be and where the students will get confused. Okay. And moreover, we have given in our guest questions also the same topic. Next question is relating to red herring prospectus. The board of directors of ABC Limited are proposing to raise funds from the public through issue of equity shares. However, due to volatile financial markets, the price per share and the number of shares to be issued are left open and to be decided post closure of the issue. As a financial advisor of the company, what would you suggest to the board in this regard as per the provisions of Companies Act? So they are unable to. Number of shares to be issued are left open and to be decided after closing of the issue. That means company is unable to fix the issue price. They want the public to determine the issue price. It is nothing but red herring prospectus. They have not used the word called as red herring prospectus. That's it. They have not used this word called as red herring prospectus. This question we have given in our test your knowledge. Without using the word called as red herring prospectus, if they frame this kind of question, it is there in our test your knowledge. In chapter 7, in chapter 6, prospectus, chapter 6. So you go and check the test your knowledge questions, it was there. We have given without using the words red herring prospectus. Okay, we have to apply the conceptual knowledge. Okay, otherwise students may get confused what is this question, because nowhere in the question they have used the word called as red herring prospectus. Okay, right? Have you gone through the test your knowledge questions at least once, then you'll be familiar with this kind of questions, okay? But anyway, we have tried to cover this many times in our revision exams also, okay, so that students to remind, yes, this question will be tested in a different manner, and we have given the guest questions also, okay? So but maybe some students may not be able to solve this question because that the word red herring prospectus is not used in that question, okay? And next, this question also important. When the payee makes delay in presentment of the check, when the payee makes delay in presentment of the check, drawer is discharged. A draws a check for rupees 5,000 in favor of B. A had sufficient funds in his bank account to meet it when the check out to be presented in the bank. The bank fails before the check is presented. Okay, the bank fails before the check is presented. The bank fails before the check is presented. So A has given a check to B. A has given a check to B, but B made delay in presenting the check. B made delay in presenting the check, and before B presenting the check, banker becomes insolvent. Bank fails means banker becomes insolvent. It is not the fault of the A, because if you look at this, sufficient funds in the account. I am A, I have sufficient balance in my bank account, I gave the check to you. It is your mistake not presenting the check within the time. You made undue delay. Before you presenting the check, banker becomes insolvent. You cannot blame me because I have given a check and I am maintaining the balance. It is your fault not to present the check. Okay, so therefore A is not liable to B. A is not liable to B. So this also same question we have given in our practical question self study. In our material you can check practical question self study. Question number 14 it will be there. Same question. I think not even change names also, they have changed the same question, and we have repeated it multiple times in the revision exams and the guest questions. And this is related to General Clauses Act, effect of repeal. Effect of repeal. Okay, effect of repeal. There is a theory question straight away. When act is repealed, act is repealed means removed. That is to say, if Companies Act 1956 is removed, but if somebody filed a case against you under the Companies Act 1956, that case can be continued and you are liable to pay the penalty under that act also. Even though 1956 act is removed, but if you have committed any fraud or mistake in the 1956 act, anybody can file a suit under 1956 act and that case can be continued and you are still liable to pay the penalty. That means repeal means removing the act. When an act is removed, it will have prospective effect but not retrospective effect. That means even though the act is removed, you are liable for your past mistakes. Even though the act is removed, you are liable for your past mistakes. That is called as this effect of repeal. That is also covered in our material. Okay, so this is the question. Third question, different topics. Any question if you observe, 7 marks will be for other laws. 7 marks will be for other laws. Okay, so here this 4 marks is Negotiable Instruments Act and 3 marks is for the General Clauses Act. 7 marks is for the other laws and the remaining 10 marks is for the corporate law. And next, this question is related to related parties, chapter number 1, board material, chapter number 1. ABC Private Limited has 2 wholly owned subsidiary companies, D Private Limited and E Private Limited. Examine whether D Private Limited and E Private Limited will be treated as related party as per the provisions of Companies Act 2013. So this is relating to related parties. So most of the students who read Accounting Standard 18, they may write the wrong answer, because the treatment in Accounting Standard 18 is different, AS 18, and the law is different. So here if you observe what they are saying, ABC Limited, and they have 2 subsidiaries called as D and E. So ABC is there, D and E is there. Okay, this is a holding company and this is a subsidiary company. This is a holding company and this is a subsidiary company. These 2 are related parties. Which 2? This holding and subsidiary are related parties. This holding and subsidiary are related parties. Now the question is whether these 2 fellow subsidiaries are related parties. Whether these 2 are related parties, the answer is no. As per Accounting Standard 18 it is yes, but as per Companies Act it is no. The reason is that this is a private company. What they have given is a private company. If it is a public company, yes, it is also related party, but it's a private company. Private company exemption is there. That's what they want to test this. ABC Private Limited. Okay, right. So it is not there in our material, unfortunately. Why? Actually it is there in our material, but we have not released it. we have selected some definitions which are not covered in any chapter, because it is of no use repeating the same definition again and again. In the board material, first chapter gives lot of definitions, but we cannot discuss all the definitions at the beginning of the class. At the beginning of the batch, we cannot discuss all the definitions. We can discuss the definitions only in the consent chapter, when we are discussing in the consent chapter. That is the reason we have not given definitions at the beginning. We have covered definitions in various chapters. There are some definitions which are not covered in any chapter. There will be some definitions which are not covered in any chapter, that we have prepared in a separate chapter called as miscellaneous chapter. But due to time constraints, we are unable to issue for the 46th editions, but your 47th editions you will get that. Okay, that uncovered definitions which are not covered in any chapter, that we have prepared in a separate chapter, miscellaneous. But due to time constraint, we are unable to issue in the 46th edition. But to cope up this, what we have done is that this we have covered in our marathon classes. This we have covered in our marathon classes. It was there in your YouTube. You can go and verify. In the marathon classes, the very first example I have discussed is this only. Even that is not there in the material, because of the time constraint we have not given in the material. So with that will be issuing for the 47th edition. But for the 46th edition students, what I have done is that whatever not covered like this, whatever is the chapters they have not released, that we have covered in the marathon classes. Very first example, when I started the marathon classes, I discussed this related party only. Okay, right. So therefore, in one way or the other, will ensure that 100% of the syllabus is covered, either in the classroom discussion or in your weekend exams or the revision exams or marathon classes. Take these four. If you prepare whatever is covered in these three sources, definitely you'll pass. There is no doubt about it. Irrespective of the paper is difficult, irrespective of the valuation is difficult. If you write the weekend exams, if you write the revision exams and attend the marathon classes, you no need to touch any question which is not covered in these three cases. Just stick on to those questions. So many of the students are complaining, sir, we don't have sufficient time to revise. If you don't have sufficient time to revise, stick on to the important topics. Sir, what is important topics? Don't break your head. Just follow what is given in the weekend exams and what is given in the revision exams and what is given in the guest questions and marathon classes. That's it. Okay. Sir, covering all the three, how much of the syllabus will be covered? Only 30 to 40%. In the guest questions, out of 92 marks, 78 marks we have given. But how much syllabus we have covered? To get that 78 marks is only 30% of the syllabus. Just by reading 30% of the syllabus, 92 marks question paper, you are able to attempt 78 marks. That's for sure. What are the important topics? So therefore, don't complain that you don't have sufficient time. Just to stick on to these sources, write the weekend exams. Remember, you may not be able to attempt the weekend exam because of time constraint you are not preparing. But at least know which question is important. Which question is important? Weekend exams, revision exams, and guest questions and marathon classes. This is enough. Whatever the topics covered in these cases, if you read, I am damn sure you will pass, irrespective of the paper is difficult. If the paper is normal, I am not saying easy also. If the paper is normal, okay, definitely you will get exemption. The paper is normal, I am not saying easy, normal level of paper. Okay, if the paper is normal level paper, then you will get exemption. No sir, paper is extremely difficult, you will get 50. You will get 50, I am guaranteed. If you read whatever the questions we have covered in these sources, pass guarantee. Irrespective of the paper is extremely difficult. If the paper is not extremely difficult, paper is only normal paper, then definitely you will get the exemption. You will get the exemption. Okay. So all these topics we already covered in the classes also. Whatever the surprise question I have tested, this reduction of share capital, this also I have covered in the marathon classes, and this redemption of preference shares, whatever the example they have given, 75%, etc. There is some confusions between this question and another question, variation of rights attached to the class of shares. There also you will see 75% in value. But what is the difference between these two questions? All those questions I have already covered in the marathon classes. Confusing areas, okay, that you should be thorough with that. Next, okay, so this is a related party definition, a 3 marks question. Next, this question is also trapping question. They have given wrong words to trap you. Sapphire Private Limited has registered its articles along with memorandum as on 1st July 2021. The directors of the company seek your advice regarding effect of registration on the company, on the company itself and on its members. If the students who are focusing on this word effect of registration, they will write section 9. But if you know that what is the effect of registration on the relationship between company and members, this is section 10. Effect of registration is section 9, and the effect of registration on the relationship between company and members. The effect of registration section 9 talks about only the futures of the company. What are the characteristic futures of the company? Separate legal entity, perpetual succession, common seal, etc. Whereas section 10 talks about the relationship between parties. Section 10 talks about the relationship between parties. I'll show you what are the two questions where we have get confused here. Okay. So this question is, they are talking about this binding effects of memorandum and articles. Upon registration, memorandum and articles shall bind the company and the members. So this question is on the binding effect of memorandum and articles. But effect of registration is some other question. Effect of registration, what are the futures of a company when the company gets incorporated? What are the futures of a company when the company gets incorporated? That is section 9. So two questions are completely different. Section 9 is different and section 10 is different. Okay. So like this is the third area where you have saw the trapping. First word, dishonor of check. Actually it is a material alteration, but they have used the word called as dishonor of check. Another one, actually it is an alteration of capital, but they have used the word called as reduction of share capital. Here it is a binding effect of MOA, but to trap you they have given the word called as effect of registration. Completely different answer. If you write section 9 by looking at this word, you will get 0. You have to write what is this effect on the relationship between the company and members. How the company, registration of a company affects the relationship between company and members. This is section 10. So this, therefore that means you should not read the question hurriedly and focus only on the important words. You have to read the question thoroughly, then only you'll write the correct answer. If you concentrate more on the important words, there are high chance of writing the wrong answer. Completely irrelevant answer. Okay, if you concentrate only on the important words in the question, you are wrong. You may write the wrong answer completely. You have to read the question thoroughly. You have to read the question thoroughly. That's once again stresses the importance of concentration. In the papers like law, how important it is to read the question concentratedly. Okay, this is the question where the students may lose the marks here. Next, this question, straight question. Okay, unlisted company. ABC Limited is an unlisted company having its registered office at Kolkata. The annual general meeting was held at Goa on 1st July 21 at 3 p.m. and concluded at 8 p.m. So unlisted company, registered office is at Kolkata, but they want to conduct a meeting at Goa. Is it possible? Answer is yes. Unlisted company can conduct the AGM at any place other than the city of registered office, but for that they have to take the consent of all members. They have to take the consent of all members. Easy question to solve. Okay, so this also we have covered in our guest questions and the revision exams. You can understand how important it is to write the revision exams and the guest questions. That is that if you observe, see, identify any point which is not any question, identify any single question which is not covered in revision exams and guest questions. Even though it is there, hardly 5 to 10 marks. That's it. Revision exams and guest questions, it is not covered. That kind of questions are very rare questions. Okay, so 90% of the question paper you can write if you just stick on to these two sources, revision exams and the guest questions. This is an unlisted company, but this question B part may be a bit difficult to write because there are conflicting answers for this. They have given they have gone out of the syllabus. Okay, there will be there, some questions will be there, 5 to 10 marks, which is not there in the board material also. They will give disclosure regarding interest of directors. Disclosure regarding interest of directors. Actually, it is section 184. Disclosure of interest relating to directors. It is 184. It is covered in your CA final syllabus. Okay, but why they have given in CA Inter? In CA Inter also there is an alternative answer for this, that is called as explanatory statement. Section 102 explanatory statement. But which answer they will give, we have to wait for the ICAI. Which answer they will give, whether they will give 184. 184 is appropriate answer for this question. 184 is appropriate answer, but 184 is not covered in the syllabus. What is covered in the syllabus and which is close to 184 is 102 explanatory statement. So we have to wait for the ICAI suggested answers which they will pick up, whether 184 or 102. Consequence of non-disclosure. Consequence of non-disclosure. In the explanatory statement, you all know this explanatory statement, right? What is this explanatory statement? In the explanatory statement, look at this. Consequences of non-disclosure. If the directors does not disclose their interest, what is the consequences? So this answer you can write. Since 184 is not there in the CA inter syllabus, you can write this section 1 or 2. What is covered in the CA inter syllabus? Consequence of non-disclosure. Okay. Right. This question also we have predicted and given in the revision exams and the guest questions. Explanatory statement concept, very important. And this question is related to General Clauses Act, other laws, General Clauses Act, prior publication. Publication means before framing any act or rules, government has to take the public opinion. Nobody knows that. Many people are thinking that government is framing the acts on its own. No. Government will frame the act only after taking the public opinion. For taking the public opinion, they will publish a draft order in the government website, but people will not verify that website. Only very few people who knows that yes, government is asking the public opinion, they will verify the government website and they will give their opinion. But really speaking, government will take the public opinion as per the constitution before framing any act. That is called as publication. Published draft. Before implementing any act, government has to take the opinion of the public. Okay, that is what this question relating to. Okay. So this question is also covered in our guest questions and the material. Next, every act in any section there will be some word, something called as explanations, and what is the important of that explanation? Theory question, straight theory question. So this also we have covered in the material and the guest questions. It is also a straight question in our material. It is a straight question. I'll show you same question as it is. Why an explanation? It does an explanation added to a section widen the ambit of a section. You understand why we will give this kind of similar questions? Okay. What is the effect of a proviso? Does it qualify the main provisions of an enactment? Similar question, straight question. Observe the examination question. Does an explanation added to a section widen the ambit of a section? What is given in our material? Does an explanation added to a section widen the ambit of the section? And this also. What is the effect of a proviso? Does it qualify the main provisions of the enactment? Look at this next question. Will identify FD. 5D. What is the effect of a proviso? Does it qualify the main provisions of an enactment? Okay. So that what kind of how the question framing will be in the examination. We'll do some kind of prediction, and based on that we'll frame that similar questions. Okay. And this is the last question, fifth question, where you will have the inter choice. Okay. Internal choice is there, not only external choice. In the fifth question we will be having internal choice, and this is relating to remuneration. Okay, auditor's remuneration. If the remuneration is not fixed in the general meeting, what the directors will do? Directors will fix the remuneration. If the remuneration is not fixed in the general meeting, directors will fix the remuneration. So this is also there, straight away practical question in our example. In our material it was there, practical question, and we have given in the guest questions also remuneration. Next, this is the question, maybe even we are unable to answer what is this answer, we are not sure. Because if the students who are unable to write this remuneration question, they will think that this fraud question is easy to write. But it's very difficult to write this fraud question. Look at this. ABC and Co. Chartered Accountants are statutory auditors of Moon Exports Limited. In an inquiry, it is proved that A, one of the partners of the firm, has acted in a fraudulent manner and colluded in fraud to its partners. Explain the consequence of such act under the provisions of the Companies Act 2013. By looking at that fraud, we should not get confused. See, what are the two types of fraud covered in the Companies Act? First one, fraud by directors or employees. Fraud committed by directors or employees. How the auditor has to report to the company, to the central government, board of directors or audit committee. This is one type of fraud. Fraud committed by employees. The auditor's duty is to report to the company, central government, board of directors or audit committee. Depends on the situation. Depends upon whether the fraud is 1 crore, more than 1 crore or less than 1 crore. Second type of fraud is committed by the auditor to the company. Fraud is committed by the auditor to the company. Auditor colluded in this fraud. So in that case, what happens? Central government will make an application to tribunal, and tribunal will remove the auditor. First question, fraud done by the directors, auditor reported that fraud. Second case, directors done the fraud, auditor cooperated in that fraud. Auditor colluded in that fraud. Then central government will make an application to tribunal, tribunal will remove the auditor. But what is given in the examination is not these two types of fraud. What is given in the examination is that in the audit firm, one partner done fraud to another partner. It is not to the company. It is not the fraud done by the directors of the company. It is not the fraud done by auditor to the company. It is the fraud done by one auditor in the partnership firm to another partner, which is not covered. Therefore, we are in dilemma. What is the answer to write? Whether the question drafting is wrong or whether is there any other answer, I don't know. Frankly speaking, I don't know the answer for this. In fraud to its partners. In fraud to its partners. One of the partners acted in a fraudulent manner and colluded. If A has done the fraud to the company, if A has done the fraud to this company, Moon Exports, then okay, central government will make an application to the tribunal will remove the auditor. But A has done the fraud to another partner. No fraud to the company. So therefore we are in dilemma what answer to write. So we'll wait for the ICAI what opinion they will give. Maybe the question drafting may be wrong or they may be having a different answer. Okay. We have to wait for the ICAI suggested answers to know their viewpoint. Because debatable question. There are two types of frauds which are covered in the act, but this is a third type of fraud. Fraud committed by one partner of the audit firm to the another partner. Therefore, it's better to write. Luckily, they have given another choice here. Internal choice. Look at this. This is also 5A and this is also 5A. Internal choice. You can write any one of this question. Either remuneration question or this question. Fraud done by the auditor. Okay. Right. And this is relating to inspection of minutes. Inspection of minutes. Mr. Ram, a shareholder of PQR Limited, has made a request to the company for providing a copy of the minute books of general meeting. So, who is asking what? Shareholder is asking what? Minutes of general meeting. Yes, he can verify. Shareholder cannot verify the board meeting minutes. Shareholder cannot verify the board meeting minutes, but shareholder can verify the general meeting minutes. Whether the shareholder is entitled to receive a copy of the minute books, the answer is yes. Not only he can verify at the registered office, he can also ask for the copies, Xerox copies of the book. Because company will provide only 2 hours for verification. If it is not possible for you to verify within the 2 hours provided by the company, what you can do is that you can ask for Xerox copies and you can verify at your convenient time. Okay, so who is asking? Shareholder. What they are asking? Minutes of general meeting. It is permitted, they can ask. And this is related to credit rating in case of eligible company. When the company is accepting deposits from public, they have to obtain the credit rating. Okay, that is a theory question, straight theory question. We have covered in all our sources, revision exams, guest question in our material. Next, this is relating to bailment and pledge. Mixing of goods. If the bailer mixes the goods with the consent of the bail. If the bailee mixes the goods with the consent without consent. If the goods are mixed with the consent, then they are shared proportionately. If they are not mixed without consent, damages to be paid. Very simple question, straight theory question. Okay, so damages to be paid. If the goods are mixed without the consent, damages to be paid. And last question already we have covered, effect of the proviso. Okay. So with this, you should reach some conclusion that the importance of our sources or how important is our material. In the recent exam, if you observe, in our material we have covered various categories. You got a question in each and every category. Theory question, classroom discussion. Okay. Practical question, classroom discussion. Practical question, self-practice. Additional information. Concept questions. Similar questions, test your knowledge questions, and footnotes. These 8 category covered in our syllabus, in our material: theory question, practical question, classroom discussion, practical question, self-practice, additional information, concept questions, similar questions, test your knowledge, and footnote. You got one question in the exam from each of this category. You got a question in the examination. Therefore, you cannot neglect the material. You understand the importance of the material, why you are classifying so many things, because the question framing in the examination will be different. In the professional examinations, you cannot expect a straight question. The question framing will be different and we can't predict 100%. We are admitting that we can't predict 100% of the question paper, but still we are trying our level best to predict it in the form of concept questions and test your knowledge questions. In the form of concept questions, test your knowledge questions and footnotes, we are trying our level best to predict the question paper. In spite of our best efforts, you will not be able to attempt the whole question paper, but as we discussed, it is sufficient if you write 80% of the marks. Even in theory question papers also, if you write 80% of the question paper, then it is enough. 30% is the MCQs. 30 marks will be the MCQs. Out of descriptive paper of 92, even if you leave 42 also, concentrate only on the 50, still enough, you pass the exam. Anyway, 30 marks will be there in the MCQ. Out of 30 marks MCQ, definitely you will get 20 marks. Okay, definitely you will get 20 marks, and out of 50 marks in the theory, you will get 30 marks. This is in the extreme cases. In the worst case scenario, if you follow this kind of this pattern, definitely you will get passed. No doubt about that. Irrespective of the paper is difficult and irrespective of the valuation is difficult, still we can assure you that you will get passed. I may not assure you that you will get 70 or 80, but we'll assure you that if you follow the material, definitely you will pass. Okay. Right. And one more important point. So here the material is prepared not only by the faculties, extensive involvement of the academic directors. So with the extensive involvement of Prakash sir, this material is coming. We are simply executing what the instructions given by the management. That's it. So it's not that only the faculty is preparing the material. No, management is extensively involved in the material. We are simply implementing their instructions. The design and the thought, the credit completely goes to the management. The thought called as this concept questions, test your knowledge question. You observe it in the market. No author book you'll find this kind of category or classification: concept, test your knowledge, footnotes, similar questions. No, it is purely the brainchild of Prakash sir. Okay, it is as per the Prakash sir thoughts we have designed this material completely. So therefore the complete credit goes to the management, even though we are doing the work, but still as per the management instructions the material will come out. That may not be visible to you, how much management is working on developing this material, and moreover the resources they are spending. Here, if you observe this revision exams, in the market there are many institutes which are offering the revision exams. But here in the uniqueness of the masterminds is that here the revision exam question papers are prepared by the faculty only, not by any other clerical staff. In other coaching institutes, what they will do is that they will prepare the revision exam question paper by keeping some clerical students. They will pick only the previous exam questions or RTPs or MTPs, which does not require any skill set. If I want to frame a question paper on the issue of shares chapter, what I will do, what are the previous questions in that chapter and what are the questions in the RTPs or MTPs, that I will give. For that you need not have an expert knowledge. Just to pick the questions from the previous exams and the RTPs and framing a revision exam question paper does not require any skill at all. But framing, if you observe this weightage analysis, you will see how much work we have done. Look at this. It is not covered in RTPs, it is not covered in MTPs, it is not covered in revision exams, but still we have given in the revision exams and guest questions. It is possible only if the faculty prepares the question paper. It is possible only if the faculty prepares the question paper, whether your weekend exams or revision exams. If the faculties personally prepare the question paper, then we will be able to predict. You are observing all these questions, none of the exam from the previous sources. This is, we have guessed on our own and we have given in the revision exams. Since revision exam question papers are prepared by the faculty, weekend exams, guest questions, everything is prepared by faculty but not by clerical student or unqualified people. Therefore, you can expect high quality in the revision exam question paper or in the guest questions. You can expect a high quality because the faculty is prepared completely. Okay, right. So as per the management instructions, management will give detailed instructions how to design the question paper, how much question should be easy, how much question should be unknown, and how much question should be familiar. Based on the extensive instructions of the management will prepare the question paper. Okay, that is the important. And one more point you have to observe is the attention in the classes, listening to the classes attentively. Okay, otherwise you will not be able to write this kind of questions. This kind of questions suddenly in the examination you are gone. Unless until you listen to the classes carefully, you will not get this attention. And this is the drawback in the online classes. I have seen couple of students, they are coming and asking, sir, just now I have converted from physical to online, till now I have not listened to the classes properly. I am not about the other subject, I don't know about the other subjects, but when it comes to most especially about theory, our theory subjects, students are not interested to listen in the online. At least in the problematic subject, maybe they will listen partially, but when it comes to the theory subject, they will feel that the subject is bored and they don't read the subject. But in fact, your income tax is bit of theory, law is theory, and auditing is theory. How can you leave so much of theory subjects? Okay, in the classroom, you are forced to listen to the classes. Whether the topic is interesting or whether the topic is boring, you are forced to listen. But in the online classes, there is no one for you to monitor. There is no one for you to monitor. If any of you has already listened to the online classes in the foundation, you will feel the impact. What is the difference between the online classes and the physical classes? Online classes, there is no control on you. There is no monitoring on you. Whenever you are feeling like listening, you listen. That's it. That may be the cases in the online classes. But physical classes, the advantage is that you are forced to listen. You are forced to listen all the subjects. Okay, that is the advantage of physical classes. So what I want to stress is basically first aspect is give preference to the physical classes. Don't go for the online classes. Online classes are so, I'm not saying that online classes are not suitable to everybody. It is suitable only to the 5% of the students who are completely self-controlled, who don't have any disturbance at the home, who don't want to waste the time. They are targeting a rank and they have complete control on that. So this kind of students will be hardly 5 to 10%. Majority of the students, they need someone to monitor and control, to push back. There should be some guider to push you to constantly listen to the classes. That's it. Therefore, physical classes, online classes are never substitute for the physical classes. And next, understand the importance of the material. How much time we spend on the material, how much time management is spent on the material, complete involvement of the management, and lot of resources on the material. Frankly speaking, I am admitting that whatever the remuneration we are getting, if you believe it or not, out of that, half of the remuneration is only for preparing the material. Whatever the remuneration I am getting, I don't want to tell the figure. Okay, whatever the remuneration I am getting, out of that, half of the remuneration is not for teaching the classes. Half of the remuneration is only for the preparing the question papers. If say for example 2 lakhs is the monthly remuneration, 1 lakh is for teaching the classes and 1 lakh is for the material. Frankly speaking, I am admitting that whatever the remuneration we are getting, half is towards the question papers only, material work. Revision exam questions, weekend exam questions, guest questions, material work. With this work only we are getting paid. That means management is spending lot of amount on the material so that you can face this kind of question paper. Okay, it may not be possible for all the institute to spend this much of time and efforts. And understand the revision exams, as I told you, unique feature here, only the faculty will prepare the revision exam papers. Therefore, I am sure that if you write the revision exam papers and weekend questions, definitely will pass the exam. And last but not the least, don't forget the marathon classes also. Day before the exam, you can revise the complete syllabus in one day. At least 60 to 70% of the important topics you can listen to the online classes. So please give importance to these points. First, give importance to the physical classes, not the online classes, and understand the importance of our material. The entire throughout 92 marks question paper, what is not covered in our material is only one thing, this related party. And as I told you, even though it is not covered in the material, we realized it subsequently and we have covered in the marathon classes. Only that question. There is no other question which is not covered in the material. Okay, there is no question in the examination which is not covered in the material. 5 to 10 marks will be there, but in any professional exam that will be common. Okay, right. So and educate your student, educate your friends also. Importance of physical classes, unless they have complete control, online classes is not advantage. I am not denying the validity of the online classes. Online class may be good, but that is only 5 to 10% of the people who have complete control over them. For them online classes will be preferable. Otherwise, physical class is the best. And material, as I told you, every section we got a question. Go and search in the market. No author book in the market covered this kind of questions, because they don't spend that much of time and resources on the material. Believe, if half of the remuneration we are getting from the material work, means how much money management is spending on the material work. Every month, not less than 20 to 30 lakhs every month they will spend only on the material work. Materials, revision exams and the question papers. Once you go and see the Pratap campus, you will observe how many faculties are working there, how many resources they are giving, how many instructions they are giving. It's not we are telling just for the namesake. Just whenever you have time, go and observe the Pratap campus. That's it. You will observe on your own. You can observe how many faculties are there, how much time they are spending on that. All are qualified faculties and experienced faculties only. Obviously, they don't come for small salary. Qualified and experienced faculty, they don't come for a small salary. You don't see the clerical people there. You'll see completely qualified faculty. Who are the faculty you are seeing in the classroom, you will observe those people who are there in the material work and revision exam work. So therefore, since they are spending lot of amount on the material work and exams, definitely will get qualitative. And revision exams, extensive schedule. Okay, the schedule will be very extensive and question papers will be meticulously designed. And marathon classes also, it's very useful for one day revision. Okay, thank you.